So allow me to apologize to Deion because I got carried away early. They won the first 3 games, and I thought at least they could go 8-4, and I went a little crazy because it looked like I know, but it looked like miracles were about to occur, and they actually did.
There's some backpedaling going on in the sports media universe, and perhaps it's going to, Skip Bayless may approach Deion Sanders levels of backpedaling. Let's play these clips back to back. One, it's Skip Bayless backpedaling and Keyshawn Johnson just babbling about Deion Sanders. These guys are on it now that Deion's 4-8 and in last place in the Pac-12. They're trying to babble and wiggle their way out of all the stupidity they expressed about Deion earlier in the season. Play Skip and then play Keyshawn Johnson.
So allow me to apologize to Deion because I got carried away early. They won the first 3 games, and I thought at least they could go 8-4, and I went a little crazy because it looked like I know, but it looked like miracles were about to occur, and they actually did. But we put such a big target on these kids' backs that they could not live up to or defend because they're not ready yet. They're just, and yet they were in all these games. They had Stanford down 29-0 at a half, and they had 2 bad games at Oregon and at Washington State. Well, that's pretty great.
So when you start to look at that, Deion, first of all, Deion is going to be fine. His team's going to be fine. There's a portal that's going to open up. And there's a ton of players around the country that's looking for opportunities, and Colorado presents those opportunities for guys that actually could play football. You talk about the success. It's successful. He won 4 games. They won 1 last year. If he had won 4 over the course of this season, meaning like instead of 4 in the beginning, all of a sudden it was 1 and they lose 2, then they win 1 and they lose 4, then they win. We would sit up there and say, man, he's doing a hell of a job.
4 games is successful. I love Jay Gruden. He went at RG3 and said, man, I wish those Sanders had applied to me. I'd still be coaching. That was Jay Gruden. And then how about Skip? Instead of apologizing to the audience, hey, I misled you guys. I had bad information. Let me apologize to Deion. It's my fault, Deion. You did nothing wrong. I put a target on your back by overhyping the team. It's the media's fault. They're doing everything to prevent themselves from actually honestly analyzing what Deion Sanders did.
Man, Skip Bayless, he's just become just a 2-legged white guilt. It kind of reminds me, and this is going to be a terrible analogy, and I'm still going to say it, like these business owners in San Francisco that get robbed and murdered, and the family says, hey, we want to apologize for white supremacy. We don't want to press charges. This is about the system. They are the real victims. But anyway, we got to close up our business, and now we have a funeral to get to. Guys, you can say it. It fell apart late. It was a feel-good story in September. Reality hit in October. It fell apart in November. Jason, I watched that whole segment yesterday. I tell you what was funny, though. Keyshawn actually tried to say that, well, they only got blown out in 1 game. And even Skip said, well, Washington State. And Keyshawn said, no, they were in Washington State, kind of. Keyshawn, the score was 42-7 at halftime. That's kind of getting I don't really know much about football, okay? But 42-7 at halftime is a blowout. Just wanted to let you know. Jeez.
It's embarrassing.
Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.